Hey you guys, this is Beyond the Voice, and I'll be giving you a short late review of God of War. Just like always, we'll first talk about the storyline, world, gameplay, finally, the verdict. If you like this review, or if you like my content, please consider sharing this account with your friends. Following up from the events of God of War 3, the story takes place when the mother of Kratos' son dies. So they decide to go on a journey to scatter her ashes from the highest mountain in all the realms. The events of the story from the beginning till the end were all well connected. From the moment you saw Kratos leaving with his beloved ashes, to the moment where everything escalated for the climax of the story, and until it drops down for those final moments. These ups and downs make you feel more connected and deeply involved with the events of the story. The amount of effort put into designing and writing these events are perfectly done. The characters in God of War were all well designed, starting from the shape and look of the character to their clothes and costumes. The tiniest details that were given to every character added meaning and depth to those characters and their background. And it's one of the things that I always love and get excited about in any game. An example to what I'm talking about would be the wraps around Kratos' arms that bind him with his past, which adds a deeper level to his character design. Another thing is how Kratos is always hesitant with his son. He's always conflicted to whether to treat him as a boy who's longing for his father or to treat him as a Spartan warrior. One more thing I noticed was how the voice acting was completely on point. And a huge example to that would be Kratos and how his voice just shows how much he learned from his mistakes by making it deeper and calmer, signifying a huge leap from his old personality. Also, how each character interact with each other and the environment that is surrounding by a gesture or a line all adds a deeper level and meaning to the game's story. Cutscenes and gameplay in God of War were all taken in a single shot. From the moment you start the game until you're done, there are absolutely no loading screens whatsoever. This type of method is rarely seen in any game. So far, the only other game I know that used one-shot method was Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. It is a big challenge for a studio to try and collect all the gameplay in one single shot without any major repositioning or transition, and I applaud them for that. Another thing is how the story is portrayed for the gamers to understand, not only in cutscenes but in the small conversations the characters have during the gameplay, like Kratos and Atreus' interaction with one another, and with the objects scattered across the world during the gameplay, or the amazing stories that I like to call bedtime stories that were all told throughout their travels on the boat. It is amazing how they continue the story from where they got interrupted if you got off the boat. Kratos would say something to pause the story, and as soon as you get back on the boat, the story would continue smoothly. You could probably say that it's a simple and it's been used in other games like Uncharted 4, but not in this level of detail. The world consists of several realms such as Midgard, Elfheim, and four more, which we will find out as soon as we progress through the story. Within each realm, there are several mini-maps all combined to form a realm, and every entry to a new realm encourages you to unfold its mysteries. We cannot say that the world of God of War is open, but rather we can simply say that the world is expanded enough for you to find and solve its mysteries, and in every corner of the world, a mystery is waiting to be uncovered. One of the things that I found to be extraordinary was the ever-changing environment and the beautiful scenery that came along with it. The most obvious example would be the world serpent, where he would change his position every now and then. Sometimes you find him sleeping, other times he would be observing the world. It is a minor addition, but trust me, it adds so much depth to the game. The way to travel from location to another would usually be by foot or boat. Any more than that, I'll be giving out spoilers. Trust me, you don't want that. Santa Monica has always given us God of War as a third-person action game, with a fixed camera and a fixed angle, like Devil May Cry in a way. This time they decided that it's time to evolve, which was probably the best decision they made if you ask me. Building the game from scratch to introduce us to a whole new experience with added and enhanced mechanic while still noticing the small basics that helped shape God of War. The main storyline quest and side quests are completely separate in the game. You are left with the choice to either continue the storyline or to complete side quests, which of course you'll be rewarded for. There are even some points where Atreus just tells you that it's fine to go exploring, which I think was a nice touch. I'm amazed of how much effort was taken into building ways and means to acquire chests. Well, sometimes you must create your own path to a chest, which may take you from a couple of seconds to a few minutes to figure it out. It took me more than that. Other times, to figure out the path, you have to eliminate some obstacles like brumbles, rubbles, or poison gas. Another thing would be the enormous number of unique puzzles for you to solve and enjoy. The designs behind solving puzzles and opening chests are outstanding. The most controversial change in the game was probably the battle system associated with the camera angle. The game is still considered to be a third-person action game, but this time with the camera being placed behind Kratos plus having the freedom to change the camera and rotate it at your own will, which gives the player a sense of freedom in the game. The combat system was changed to be a bit realistic without trashing the iconic system, hack and slash. This time you have your shield, your axe, and one more weapon I won't be mentioning. The moment you enter the battle, with the help of Atreus, you can perform a number of combos, either using your shield, your axe, or both. Not to mention the invincible Spartan mode, who we all use when things got out of hand. Another thing that God of War is famous and appreciated for is their finishing moves. Putting so much effort to come up and design these moves could be time-consuming. With the press of a button, you order Atreus to shoot your enemies in order to distract them from you or paralyze them. There are some enemies that cannot be dealt with unless you paralyze them first, like the Revenant. Not only that, but the way that Atreus tried to match your combat style during the battle is an excellent mechanic, whether it is in a regular battle or a boss battle. Enemies in the game varies depending on which part of the world you are in. Within each species, there are multiple types of enemies. For example, there are the DRAUGR, who will sometimes attack with their hands, another type will shoot fire, another wield the giant hammer, and so on. Depending on the type you're facing in a battle, you have to adjust your approach wisely. Atreus is by far one of the biggest additions to the game. He will not only help you defeat enemies, but he also helps you solve some puzzles, guide you if you lost your way, and aid you with health crystals and so on. We have seen this kind of things before in games like BioShock with Elizabeth and like The Last of Us with Ellie. From these two games, I think they've gathered enough experience to avoid any mistakes that were in those two to give us the ultimate in-game support. The game has the classic style of upgrading weapons, skills, and armors, from slotting gems into your weapons and armors, to equipping new handles to your axe, to fabricating equipment using materials found all over the world. It's nothing new exactly, but I'm glad they added it to the game, unlike the one-way upgrading system in God of War 3. Having a separate way for Kratos to learn new skills where every weapon style Kratos uses is considered to be a set of its own. And not forgetting Atreus, who can learn new skills as well, adds more complexity to the battle experience. One of the things I notice is that Kratos' skills cost more experience than Atreus. Dear old Papa is taking so much time to learn, so we have to pay him more experience. This is one of the things that I really fell in love within the game. I love how interactive the shops are and how it changes based on how much you progress throughout the game. This is something I was complaining about in every game I came across, and God of War didn't disappoint me with this one. In order for game designers to control the game experience, they have to carefully control one of the key elements, which is the music. Here in God of War, you can sense that there were some moments in the game that the background music of God of War can change in pace to express Kratos' sadness, power, and anything that he was feeling in those moments. I remember one of the things my game development professor used to tell me is, you want not only to develop games for others to play, but you want to develop and deliver an immersive experience. God of War has done it. They delivered us an immersive experience, and for that, it deserves a 9.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and boy, fetch me my axe. See you soon, inshallah.
What is this?
It's the world serpent.
Stay calm, boy!
I am!
What is it saying?